Hello, hello. Welcome to another Tuesday tea, but this week on a Wednesday is when you're receiving it, but with myself, Alisha Bowker Mudrock. And today you just get me. It won't be as long as some of our other talks. While I probably could talk for 45 minutes or 40 minutes or so by myself, I'll spare you that. But what I'm really on here just to chat about today and give you some hot goss on is I did something pretty scary and exciting, and I wrote a book. So I know I've been sort of alluding to that in some of my stories, but it is almost ready to push publish. It will be available hopefully next month, November, but you'll get more details on release date and all of that. But really, what I'm spending the next 5 weeks of October on is I have some really incredible women coming on who I identify as women in my own life who definitely embody this theme, which the title of my book, Leading Lady Energy. And they're going to share a bit about their own journeys, how they got where they are, how they step into that power and model that energy, the struggles, the successes, just getting really real and nitty gritty with it. So you're going to get to hear all of their stories. I have some really awesome women coming on, so I'm so excited to share them with you. But I wanted just to give a little bit of my own in the terms of what led to the creation of this book and what that process was kind of like for me, and just to get you guys excited about being able to read it and share it with others. So I did a year-long business course with one of our guests from this month, but a coaching mentor and friend of mine, Liz Lasky. And the last part of that program was we were going to write our book in 90 days. And I'm a perfectionist and I hate doing anything that isn't perfect. And I don't like being a learner all the time, even though ironically I've had a lot of jobs where I've had to be that in front of people. I don't love it. But I said, okay, I'm really kind of competitive. If you put a goal in front of me and there's people watching, I'll produce, I'll figure it out, I'll show up. So we had this challenge, and I remember kind of thinking to myself, I've always wanted to write a book. It's definitely been something that I always just knew I would do. And this will not be the last one now that I have a taste of it. But I wasn't really sure what it would be about or when or what. And so this was a great idea of it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not meant to be maybe the book. It's not a whole novel. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, but it's from the heart. There's something, a message that I want you guys to have. There's something important in it. And while I can sit here, I'm looking at it right now, the proof I have. While I can sit here and there's so much I can nitpick each time I go through it as I'm going through less edits and little things. I'm at this point, I'm like, it's terrible. I don't even want to publish it. But I know that's just one of those inner critic thoughts and it's not real. Is it the most profound, best piece of writing I've ever done in my whole life? Probably not, but it isn't bad. I think that there's a lot of my own story in it. There's some really practical takeaways and tips. It is the idea of, ditching that supporting actress role in 4 steps. Yes, I could have written probably 80 more pages on every step, but I think there's something for everything. I think it's a good building block. It's not going to be the only resource you use for this topic, but being under 100 pages and being something really digestible, I think is what we need these days. A lot of people like to read, but don't have time to read the long books. So what I'm hoping is that this targets a market where you could sit down and finish it in a day or two. You can also keep going back to it and back to parts of it, that there's going to be questions and there's journal prompts and there's exercises in there to really get you thinking. You can reuse this material over and over. I personally don't love rereading books, but my hope is that this is one of those types of books, because sometimes I do come across them where I do want to reread it. I do want to pick it back up. So that's sort of my vision. And that's what I've just been having to put in perspective is not, it is what it is, right? And I'm really proud of it. It's not going to be perfect. Someone out there who's a grammar queen, even though I did have some other folks edit, is going to find things wrong. And that's okay. It's action. It's more than a lot of people can say. And I still think there's a really beautiful message at the root of it. And I share some really vulnerable personal stories in there. I did an interview with the Pathways to Purpose series. I don't even know now, back when I was still in Miami, so a few months ago now. And I started sort of talking just about my own journey a little bit, about my moves, about self-doubt, about overcoming that, getting to where I am now, some impact other people's voices and experiences had on me, how I let that have way too much ownership until I finally decided to throw that off and take the reins back, sort of stepping into that leading lady role. And I wanted to expand on it. So it sort of inspired the theme. Did a lot of theater growing up as well. So I love a good theme and I love the stage analogies. And I still have dreams about, I didn't study my lines on the shows tonight. I don't know that I'll ever be back in that space in any sort of way, but I loved doing it all through college, all the way up through college. And it's such a special part of my story that I wanted to bring that into the book as well. It's not really about my acting career that didn't go anywhere, that I was never really trying to make go anywhere. But it's sort of that analogy and that theme, but just how I think of what it means to embrace and take the stage and get back in the driver's seat of your own life, so to speak. So that really inspired it. There's some personal stuff, like I said, there's some takeaways. And my hope for you is you're not gonna have the same story as me, and some people might be like, "Wow, she's speaking right to me. That feels like my journey, just insert XYZ." Other folks might say like, "I've never really felt like that," but that's really interesting and helpful to know sometimes people do, and maybe you know someone in your life who you can help pass this book on to or inspire or help them step into their own leading lady role because they're not there yet. And like I said, the women I've asked this month, and they are not the only women in my life who fit this role, but ones that I really was thoughtful about and who were able to show up and do this, are women who I look up to, who I think it's helpful to always have the people you're helping, the people who are kind of on that same plane, and the people that are ahead of you, that you're like, how do I get to that next step? How do I get in that room with those people? How can I embody some of the actions and presence and mindset that they are taking to get myself to my next level? It's not the same thing. These women all do different fields that are not fields I'm in for the most part, but just the energy that they bring not only to their professional lives, but their personal lives, their friendships, just the world. And we need more of that, right? We are all gifted with such unique skills and tools and beauty. And the more we mute those, make them small, make them silent, shove them down, hide them, not only is that hurting you, but it is really not allowing so many others in your world, in your orbit to gain and capitalize and benefit from the things you have to offer. And so by making yourself small, you often are hurting others as well. And I really want you to sort of think about that as you enter into reading this book. Think about the places that you do stay small, that you can get louder, that you can get more bold, that you are handing over the power, the control, the reins, the script, the spotlight, when you don't need to be, and when maybe it's not actually benefiting others for you to do that either. So I'm so excited to share it with you. I'm so excited to sort of build up, drop some teasers, get folks excited and ready. And as soon as I have the exact date and all the details of the where, you will be given them to buy your copy, to buy it for a friend, share it with friends. And I am just really proud of myself. I will say it still feels kind of surreal, and I don't know how it will feel until it's kind of here. Like I said, there's still moments of that imposter syndrome and doubt and critic, but overall, I'm pushing ahead. I think it's important. I think it is really good. I stand behind what's in there, and I am proud that this is checked off, book number one at least. And I'm excited to see what's in the future, but I'm happy to share this with all of you, hear your feedback, hear how it impacts your life, hear your takeaways, your thoughts. I'm just hopeful a lot of dialogue stems from it. I'm hoping to create some different offers, groups, products, things that will stem from it over time. Not quite sure what that's all going to be yet, but I think that's okay too. That's part of what I talk about. It's always good to have that vision, but sometimes the details are the unhelpful thing to have too soon because we might miss something else good along the way. So I just want to thank also my cohort, that business cohort, for really being there as a support. And I don't think without that space, this would be here. I'm thankful to the folks who were able to read it, celebrate with me, listen to me, give me input along the way. And I'm thankful to all of you for taking the time to listen to this today and just really start focusing on this theme of leading lady energy. What does that mean to you? What is a leading lady like? What is she doing? How are you showing up in those ways? How are you not? Where can maybe you begin to think about what it might look like to shift or change some spaces and energies? And we're going to keep talking about it. So you're going to hear from 4 other amazing leading ladies again over the next 4 weeks. And my book will be ready in my birth month, November, best month. So my gift to you, and I can't wait. So have a really great rest of your day, and I will see you all next week with our first guest. Thanks.